السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله، صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, today it is Thursday, the 26th of Jumada Al Uola, 1446, and this matches the 28th of November 2024. This is session number 78, going through this book, المتجر الرابح في ثواب العمل الصالح, the profitable business. And we just finished yesterday the chapter on jihad. And I mentioned that I would like to go through the ayat from Surah Ali Imran, where Al-Imam Al-Hafidh ibn Kathir, he put together in one spot the different ahadith about the shuhada and more. And it shows the scholarship, the geniusness and the authority of Al-Imam Ibn Kathir alayhi rahmatullah and his tafsir rahimahullah ta'ala, as he did this in different places. One place he will summarize for you so many narrations that came in so many books in one place, and you will read it while you are reading the tafsir of the Quran. So the ayat وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ يُرْزَقُونَ, the ayah 169, and then next is فرحين بما آتاهم الله من فضله ويستبشرون بالذين لم يلحقوا بهم من خلفهم ألا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون يستبشرون بنعمة من الله وفضل وأن الله لا يضيع أجر المؤمنين. So he says, so these are the ayat 169, 170, 171, and together he usually groups some ayat together and then he puts the explanation. So our part that we want to do is, of course, this I took this from Al-Bahith Al-Qur'ani. I spoke to you about that before many times, and we did all of our Surah Ali Imran from that application. Very beneficial application, and the copy of Ibn Kathir in there is nice, and as you can see, it has the tashkil on it. Of course, it's much smaller than this. I enlarged the size so you can see it better on the screen, inshallah. So he says, يخبر, I'm not going to go through the ahadith again because we went through them, all of them, but I just want to give you briefly what he has in there, and then some of the other narrations that might not have been mentioned. So he says, regarding the ayat, do not think that those who were killed in the way of Allah, do not think that they have been killed, dead. They are dead. Rather, they are alive. They are with their Lord, being provided for. That's the ayah that is before this section. I don't want to go back because I don't want to change the setup. Next ayah is فرحين بما آتاهم الله من فضله, that they are happy with whatever Allah has given them of His excellence, of His bounty. So he says, يخبر تعالى عن الشهداء. Allah informs about the martyrs بأنهم وإن قتلوا في هذه الدار, that they, even though they were killed in this home, this land, which is the hayatul dunya, this dar, this home of the worldly life, فإن أرواحهم حية مرزوقة في دار القرار, then surely their souls are alive, they are provided for in the home of everlasting stay. قرار, قرّ يقر, and in the Quran, the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ, Surah Al-Ahzab, qarar, qarra yaqarru, to stay, to reside. So the next life is the Darul Qarar, وإن الآخرة هي دار القرار, Surah Ghafir. Right? It says that the next life is the life of perpetual stay, everlasting stay, the last abode or the final abode and residence. Then he mentions قال ابن جرير. He summarizes what is in Ibn Jarir, Tafsir Ibn Jarir, which is the base of the books of tafsir, the mother of all of the books of tafsir. So he mentions the hadith of Anas ibn Malik, that the Prophet ﷺ sent those group from the Ansar, Bi'r Ma'una, 40 or 70 from the Ansar. They asked them to teach them. So Rasulullah ﷺ sent them. We had that hadith. So he mentions a different version of the narration, right? So he mentions that one of them went to deliver the message from Rasulullah ﷺ. So he went to one locality of that tribe, أتى حيا منهم. So he said to them, I am the messenger of Allah ﷺ to you, that testifying that there is no true God except Allah and that Muhammad ﷺ is his slave and messenger. Believe in Allah and his messenger. So a man came out to him with a spear and he hit him in his side, to a point that that spear came out from the other side of his body. فقال الله أكبر فزت ورب الكعبة. He said, Allahu Akbar, I won by the Lord of the Kaaba. We had this hadith, but the version was summarized. In this narration here, we see that this man, they said, who is going to go and deliver the message? So he said, he volunteered. He offered to go. He went and called them to Islam, and someone came, and that's how he hit him. Right? Then they followed his traces, this companion, radiallahu anhu, that they killed. They followed his traces up until they reached his friends who were with him, fil ghar, in the cave. So they killed them all, and the one behind that was Amr ibn al-Tufayl. Right? So he mentions that, and he mentions that Allah sent down Quran regarding them. بلغ عنا قومنا, inform from us our people, أن قد لقينا ربنا, that we met our Lord, فرضي عنا ورضينا عنه. He was pleased with us and we were pleased with him. This was actually an ayah. ثم نسخت فرفعت بعدما قرأناه زمانا. Then it was abrogated and it was lifted, was removed after we recited it for a while. So even Quran came down with this meaning and then it was abrogated. As you know, there is Quran that remained and there is Quran that was abrogated. وأنزل الله, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down, لا تحسبن الذين, do not think that those who were killed in the way of Allah, they are dead, rather they are alive with their Lord being provided for. Then he mentions the hadith in Sahih Muslim. قال الإمام أبو الحسين مسلم بن الحجاج القشيري في صحيحه. So the hadith in Sahih Muslim, and we had this hadith that the Sahaba, Masruq from the Tabi'in, he says, we asked Abdullah, meaning Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, about this ayah, لا تحسبن. He said, we asked Rasulullah sallallahu about it. Their souls are in the bellies of green birds. They have lanterns that are hung to the throne. They roam around in paradise wherever they wish. Then they go to those lanterns. They like a residence for them, right? Do you wish anything? Allah said to them, that hadith. Yani I don't want to repeat it. And they said, after being asked a few times, they give our souls, put our souls back to our body. So we'll go back and we'll be killed in your way, right? And then they were left because they will not, Allah will not do that. And the hadith that there is no soul that dies that has goodness with Allah, no soul like this, that Allah shows it good after it dies, no soul will be happy to go back to this dunya. You reach Allah, Allah takes care of you, good care of you. You don't want to come back, except for the shaheed. He will be happy to go back so that he will be killed again. And this hadith, we went through it. And then the hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah, right, who told him that Allah gave life to your father, and he said, wish whatever you wish from me. So he told him, Abdullah, the father of Jabir, he said, I want to go back to the dunya and get killed again. Right? And Allah told him, I already judged that no one will go back. So he mentions where انفرد به أحمد من هذا الوجه. He mentions where, the hadith is. So in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad is like a unique, he's alone narrating it in this way. وقد ثبت في الصحيحين وغيرهما. Then he says, established in the Bukhari and Muslim, and other than them, that the father of Jabir and وهو Abdullah ibn Amr ibn Haram, right? Al-Ansari radiyallahu anhu, قتل يوم أحد شهيدا. He died, he was killed on the day of Uhud as a martyr. And he mentioned also قال البخاري, right? He mentions the hadith that we already did also. I heard Jabir say, when my father got killed, I started crying and I started uncovering the cloth, the ثواب, the garment from his face. So the companions, they start telling me not to do that. And Rasulullah sallallahu he did not tell him to stop, لم ينهه. And he told him, do not cry. Or do not cry about him. The angels were shading him with their wings up until he was raised. He said, أسنده هو ومسلم والنسائي. He mentioned it with the chain, him, Muslim, and An-Nasai from another route, from Shu'bah and Muhammad ibn Munkadir and Jabir. When my father got killed on the Battle of Uhud, I started removing the cloth or the garment from his face, and I'm crying. And ذكر تمامه بنحوه. He mentioned the rest of the hadith, the completion of the hadith, similar to the wording that was already mentioned. Then he says, حديث آخر قال الإمام أحمد, and he mentions the chain. He mentions the hadith that when your brothers got hit in the Battle of Uhud, Allah made their souls in the bellies of green birds that go to drink from the rivers of paradise and eat from its fruits, and they return back to stay in lanterns, this time lanterns of gold. Right? The previous narration didn't have that. These are gold lanterns, في ظل العرش, in the shade of the throne. So when they found that they are getting good life, طيب مشربهم, drinks are good, food is good, and the stay, حسن منقلبهم, and a very nice stay, they said, we wish that our brothers would know what Allah has done for us, so that they will not be disinterested in jihad, so that they will not لا ينكلوا. You remember this word? لا ينكلوا. So they will not retract from the war. And Allah said that I will inform them on your behalf. I will convey the message to them. And He sent this ayah down. لا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أمواتا. That's the way Imam Ahmad narrated it. And likewise Ibn Jarir. And he mentions the chains. Abu Dawud Al-Hakim في مستدركه عن ابن عباس. See, and he says this is more, like this route is more confirmed. هذا أثبت. كذا رواه. He mentions, right, those who narrated it. He mentions the narration of Al-Hakim and the statements of the Mufassirun, the early Mufassirun from the Tabi'een, Qatada, Al-Rabi', Al-Dhahak, that this ayah was revealed regarding the ones who were killed in the Battle of Uhud. Then he says حديث آخر قال أبو بكر ibn Mardoya, right? So he mentions the chain, and this is now he heard Jabir ibn Abdullah, يعني Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم looked at him and he said, why I see you like worried, ما لي أراك مهتما. So Jabir ibn Abdullah, he said that my father got martyred and he left دينا وعيالا. He left a debt and he left kids, he left children. Right? So he mentions to him this now. We went through that hadith that Allah never spoke to anyone, period, except from behind the veil, and surely he spoke to your father directly. كفاحا. قال علي الكفاح المواجهة. He explains, he mentions that al-kifah is direct, speaking directly to him. So he said, ask me, I will give you, to the end of the hadith, to the end of the hadith. طيب. Then he narrated it from another route. He says, likewise, al-Bayhaqi في دلائل النبوة, from by way of Ali ibn al-Madini. Also, رواه البيهقي عن عائشة that النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم told Jabir, shall I give you the good news? He said, of course, may Allah give you, cheer you with good news. بشرك الله بالخير. So he told him that Allah gave أحيا أباك, gave life to your father, and he told him, wish for me. Another route, the same narration, that he wants to go back to fight. And then another one by Imam Ahmad, right? And this one we did also, that الشهداء على بارق نهر بباب الجنة. نهر أو نهر. نهر, the word nahr, which is river, with the sukun of the ha or a fatha. Nahr or nahar. So the martyrs are on the side of a river at the door of the paradise in a green dome. Their food, their provision is brought out to them from paradise morning and evening. Right? We did this hadith. So he said, Imam Ahmad, uniquely, he is alone narrated this. Also, رواه ابن جرير عن أبي كريب. Ibn Jarir narrated it from Abi Kurayb, and he mentions the chain, and this is a good chain. Now here you see what Imam Ibn Kathir he says. He says, وَكَانَ الشُّهَدَاءُ أَقْسَامٌ, and the martyrs are different categories. Allah أعلم. كان الشهداء or كأن الشهداء could be that it's as if the martyrs are different categories. منهم من تسرح أرواحهم في الجنة. Amongst them are those whom their souls actually roam around in paradise. ومنهم من يكون على هذا النهر بباب الجنة. And amongst them are those who will be at this river at the door of paradise. وقد يحتمل أن يكون منتهى سيرهم إلى هذا النهر فيجتمعون هنالك. And also it is possible that the end of their journey, this travel and this roaming, ends up to this river. So they gather together there at the side of that river. ويغدى عليهم برزقهم هناك ويراح. And their provision is brought to them morning and evening. والله أعلم. And Allah knows best. So after mentioning all of these narrations, he tries to put them together, because you have them in the bellies of green birds that go to a lantern stuck to the arsh, hanging on the arsh in the shade of the throne. And then you have الشهداء, they are at the side of a river at the door of paradise. So he said maybe categories, different categories. Some of them are there, some of them are there. right? And it could be that they roam around and they fly, then everybody gathers together at the side of that river and their food is being brought there and their drinks and like that, right? Allah knows best. Then he adds this narration. He says, وَقَدْ رُوِّينَا فِي مُسْنَدِ الْإِمَامِ أَحْمَدِ. We were made to narrate, right? It was narrated to us, right? In a way that we narrate it. In the Musnad of Imam Ahmad, حديثا فيه البشارة لكل مؤمن. A hadith that has the good news to every believer, not only the martyrs, every believer. بأن روحه تكون في الجنة. That his soul will be in paradise. تسرح أيضا فيها, roaming and flying also in paradise and eating from there. تأكل من ثمارها, eating from its fruits. وترى ما فيها من النضرة والسرور. And those souls of the believers, they see what's in it of nadra. Nadra is brilliance and good looks. والسرور, and the happiness, delight. وتشاهد ما أعده الله لها من الكرامة. And they will see and witness what Allah has prepared for them of honor, of the honor. وهو بإسناد صحيح عزيز عظيم. It is with an isnad, a chain that is authentic, that is aziz, يعني يعني very عزيز عظيم, great and great, يعني mighty. اجتمع فيه ثلاثة من الأئمة الأربعة. They're gathered in this hadith 3 of the 4 imams, أصحاب المذاهب المتبعة, the people of the madhahib, schools of fiqh that are followed. فإن الإمام أحمد رحمه الله, the 4 madhabs, Abu Hanifa, Malik, الشافعي and Ahmad, right? رحمهم الله. فإن الإمام أحمد رحمه الله, for surely Imam Ahmad, may Allah have mercy on him, narrated it from Al-Imam Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, from Malik ibn Anas al-Asbahi rahimahullah, عن الزهري, from الزهري, Muhammad ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, the Shaykh of Imam Malik, from the Tabi'een, عن عبد الرحمن ibn Ka'b ibn Malik, from Abd al-Rahman ibn Ka'b ibn Malik, from his father رضي الله عنه. So from Abd al-Rahman, the son of the Sahabi Ka'b ibn Malik, Abd al-Rahman ibn Ka'b ibn Malik, from his father, right? Ka'b ibn Malik, right? قال رسول الله, he said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, نسمة المؤمن, the soul of the believer, طائر, is a bird, يعلق في شجر الجنة, it eats from the fruits, or in the fruits of the trees of paradise. حتى يرجعه الله إلى جسده يوم يبعثه, up until Allah will return him to his body the day when he resurrects him. So all the souls of the believers, they are in paradise, eating and enjoying in paradise, up until the day of judgment. Allah will return him to his body, will return his soul to his body, so that he will be resurrected. قوله يعلق, him saying يعلق, أي يأكل, meaning eats from the paradise. وفي هذا الحديث, he says in this hadith, أن روح المؤمن تكون على شكل طائر في الجنة, that the soul of the believer will be having the shape of a bird in paradise. وأما أرواح الشهداء, as for the souls of the martyrs, فكما تقدم في حواصل طير خضر, as has preceded, they will be in the bellies, the stomachs of green birds. فهي كالكواكب بالنسبة إلى أرواح عموم المؤمنين فإنها تطير بأنفسها. So they are like the stars in relation to the souls of the general believers, or the believers in general. فإنها تطير بأنفسها, for they fly by themselves. فنسأل الله الكريم المنان أن يثبتنا على الإيمان. So we ask Allah, the all generous, the bestower of gifts and bounties, to make us firm upon al-Iman. Right? So he mentions those narrations about the martyrs, that they are in paradise, their souls in paradise. Then also all the believers are actually, their souls, they will be in paradise. The shuhada, they are in the bellies of green birds. The martyrs, that's the martyrs. The believers, their souls will be in the shape of a bird. Right? And he's saying that the souls of the martyrs, they have a higher status, يعني. Right? طيب. Then he mentions the ayah فرحين بما آتاهم الله من فضله, that they are happy with what Allah has granted them of His bounty. They are happy with those who did not catch up with them, whom they left behind, يعني. Those who are still alive, happy for those. They are cheerful about them, that they will not be afraid, and they shall not grieve. They are happy for their brothers that they left behind in this dunya, that they will not be having any fear for what they leave behind, and they will not be sad for يعني regarding the future. أي الشهداء الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أحياء عند الله. Meaning here that the martyrs that were killed in the way of Allah, they are alive with Allah, and they are happy. وهم فرحون مما هم فيه. They are happy because of what they are experiencing, whatever they are going through. من النعمة والغبطة, of the favor and the bounty, the grace of Allah عز وجل. ومستبشرون بإخوانهم. They are cheerful, they're having good news with their brothers, بإخوانهم الذين يقتلون بعدهم في سبيل, that they will be killed after them in the way of Allah. أنهم يقدمون عليهم, that they will come to them. وأنهم لا يخافون مما أمامهم ولا يحزنون على ما تركوه وراءهم, that they will not be afraid regarding that which is in front of them, and they shall not be sad for that which they have left behind them, يعني of the dunya. So لا خوف عليهم ولا يحزنون ولا هم يحزنون. And then he mentions يستبشرون, meaning that يسرون بلحوق من خلفهم. They will be happy that those whom they left behind in this dunya, they will be happy that they will join them and catch up with them. من إخوانهم, of their brothers, على ما مضوا عليه من جهادهم, for that which they went ahead, which they continued to do of jihad. So those martyrs, they left, and they left mujahideen behind them. They are happy for those mujahideen, that they will come to them and enjoy the same way. ليشركوهم فيما هم فيه من ثواب الله الذي أعطاهم, so that they will share with them of the reward of Allah that He has granted them. So he mentions now other things, yani that the martyrs will be brought like a book written in it, Fulan and Fulan, they will come to you on the day such and such. Right? He mentions this in the tafsir, and he mentions from Sa'id ibn Jubair the meaning of the ahadith that has passed, that they will say, we wish our brothers would know what we are going through, what we got from the honor. So يعني then he mentions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who informed them of that. يعني he said it is established in the Sahihain again يعني about بئر معونة, those 70 Ansar that were killed in one day, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed qunut, making dua, a devotional dua against those who killed them, making dua against them, and he was cursing them. And Anas radiallahu anhu said the Quran came down regarding it. We recited it up until it was lifted, يعني was abrogated and lifted. And that it says أن بلغوا عنا قومنا أن لقينا ربنا فرضي عنا وأرضانا, same like we mentioned before, that inform our people about us that we met our Lord, he was pleased with us and he made us pleased. طيب, so then the next it says يستبشرون بنعمة من الله وفضل وأن الله لا يضيع أجر المؤمنين. They become happy and cheerful with a grace, a bounty from Allah and excellence, and that Allah will not let the reward of the believers go to waste. Right? So he mentions from Muhammad ibn Ishaq that they are cheerful and happy because of what they saw with their own eyes, لما عاينوا من وفاء الموعود, because the promise was fulfilled, وجزيل الثواب, and the great reward. And then عبد الرحمن بن زيد بن أسلم, he says هذه الآية جمعت المؤمنين كلهم. This ayah gathered together all the believers, سواء الشهداء وغيرهم, same, martyrs and other than them. وقلما ذكر الله فضلا ذكر به الأنبياء وثوابا أعطاهم إلا ذكر ما أعطى الله المؤمنين من بعدهم. And he said that very few that Allah Azza wa Jal يعني would mention an excellence that he mentioned the prophets, that they got this excellence and a reward that he gave them. It's very rare that he would mention this, except that he will mention also what he gave the believers. So when Allah mentions excellence for the prophets and a reward that he gave to the prophets, then he will mention also, most of the time he will mention what he gave the believers after them. طيب, so that was from the Tafsir ibn Kathir. Inshallah, I will stop here. Inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خير.